This interview was brought to you by Becoming Truly Liberated. Join us today at Becoming Truly Liberated on Facebook. Created to guide a woman in understanding why her life, story, and voice are vital for such a time as this. Confident, empowered, valued, truly liberated. I'm so happy to be talking to this next guest. We've met through Igniters, which is part of Kingdom Driven Entrepreneurs. It's been an amazing experience learning from other folks out there. And so I want to welcome and introduce you to Jasmine Tosseth Smith. Jasmine's the founder of the Everyday Crown Rocker, where her mission is to empower, equip, and support women in creating lives that matter through embracing their true God-given identities. She's a certified soul care provider, mother, wife, survivor, and the editor-in-chief of Everyday Crown Rocker magazine. Welcome to the Empower Hour, Jasmine.
Thank you. Thank you for the warm welcome. I'm happy to be here.
Good, good. Well, I'm excited that you accepted the invitation to be interviewed over this incredible topic that God has given to me, starting to talk a little bit about lies that women believe. But before we get into the topic, tell us just a little bit more about you, Jasmine. Tell us where you're from, what you're doing, what you're up to.
Goodness. So originally I'm from Zimbabwe in Southern Africa. But I've been in the U.S. now since 2005. Yeah, since 2005. So
great.
So this is home now. I guess just kind of things that I've been through. I've been through some sexual abuse, quite a few domestically abusive relationships too. And then I struggled with infertility. I have the 3 kids now, but the boys didn't come easy. That took some work. And then, just bouts of depression and PTSD and OCD and just kind of the first part of my life was just kind of struggling through a lot of that and trying to navigate the world, but in that kind of space.
With a lot of trauma, a lot of trauma. Wow. Well, I'm glad that you are a survivor. I'm glad that you're here today. And I'm glad that God has prompted you to share your story, because really, Revelation tells us by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony, we defeat the enemy. And so that's what we really want to talk about in Becoming Truly Liberated. We want to help women get free and be able to walk in empowerment. So tell us about some of those lies. I mean, you come from a trauma space, so a lot of them weren't lies, but what were the lies that you've experienced in life and business, church, school, or whatever
I think the biggest lie that I believed, and it came a lot out of that trauma and just, repeated circumstances, was that I wasn't enough and that I wasn't worth anything. It was just kind of this belief out of living through some of those situations that kind of thinking that all this stuff is happening because I'm not enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not, I'm too naive. I'm not, like nobody could love me for me. Like I, as a person, am not enough. So just a lot of feeling just inadequate and just not feeling worthy of anything more than whatever that current circumstance was. So just a feeling of, letting life happen and just being like, whatever happens, it happens because I'm not enough, because I shouldn't aspire for anything more. Like this is the best my situation will ever be because I'm not worth anymore, or I'm not worthy of anymore. So I think that was by far the biggest lie that I believed, and it became so ingrained just in who I was that for a long time it was my truth. And for a long time I just operated out of that space and just kind of let it be. But I parented from that space. I was an employee at work from that space. I volunteered at church from that space. And so the biggest change has been finally looking at the mess and looking at where I'm at and evaluating where I was and being like, wait a second, this is all based off of something that's not true. This is all based off of a lie that I was told, when I was 15, and now I've built my life on that as the foundation. But also just stopping to be like, I've never questioned it. I've never questioned the lie. I've just taken it on as truth. And so at the end of my last relationship, and that ended in spectacular fashion, like him breaking into the house, threatening to kill myself and the kids and set the house on fire, like it.
Oh my.
And it imploded on itself. And it was at the end of that, just with the collapse of that took me literally to square one. Like it was rock bottom. I didn't know who I was outside of that relationship. I didn't know how to parent outside of that relationship. But everything I had believed and everything I thought was true literally came crumbling down as that relationship came crumbling down. So it wasn't easy. It was hard because it was basically relearning who I was, but even relearning, what clothes do I like? What kind of TV shows do I like? What's my favorite color? Like, what do I want to eat for dinner? Do I even like cooking? Do I want this job? So it was a lot of relearning that, and through that process, having to think through those decisions was where I started to also think about, okay, so since I'm starting from scratch and I get to reinvent myself, so who am I? Like, who am I really? Outside of what anybody else says, outside of what anybody else thinks, who am I? Like, to myself, when I'm by myself, who am I? And how do I want to show up in the world? Who do I want people to see? Do I want, to be the victim? Do I want pity and all of that when I go out? Do I want them to see somebody struggling? Do I want them to see somebody that's victorious? Do I want them, to see somebody thriving, or somebody that's constantly asking for help? Like, who do I want to show up as? And so that question, which actually, because I went into such a severe depression that I tried to take my own life, and that would have been the 4th time at that point. And so after all of that, I then had a parent aide that came in to help kind of assist, along with my counselor, kind of assist me in getting my life back together. And she actually is the one that asked me that question. And she said, well, it's a blessing in disguise in terms of now you get to figure out who you are. You get to be who you want to be without this relationship, without being tethered to what somebody else is saying. And she's like, and I'm here to support you, obviously, as a parent, and helping you start to make decisions and set things up that will set you up for success as now a single mother of these 3 children. But you need to think for yourself that, once I'm gone, once you're back on your feet, who do you want to be? How do you want to show up in the world? And so I think that was the best question I've ever been asked. It was the hardest one to answer because...
Sure. Yeah, that's a powerful question, just the way it's asked. Not who are you, but who do you want to be?
Yeah.
Who do you want to be?
And it was the first time since I was maybe 14 that anybody had asked. That I thought, I do have a choice. Like, I'm not, like, wait a second, so just even to be asked the question was liberating in itself. And so that's what kind of made me start to peel back the layers and start to actually break down, with the help of counseling and things like that too. It wasn't, I never want to make it sound like it was just on my own. But in actually doing that work to reestablish and figure out who I was when I started to really like just look into the word and seek God for who am I? Like, who have you created me to be? Why did you put me here? Like, did you really put me here to go through all this? And so because I was asking the question and I was looking for those answers, he was faithful and he revealed it. And, it was layer upon layer upon layer until now, now I'm helping other women walk through that same process and get to a point where they understand their identity, because I know what it's like, the devastation of not even knowing who you are, even to yourself.
Yes, that is so, so powerful and really the core of what becoming truly liberated is. And so I'm just sitting here in awe of how God just knits women together in wherever we are. I mean, you were in a crisis, a violent crisis, and yet the person that had the word for you, asked you the right question. And whatever her background is, I mean, God can use believers as well as unbelievers to just ask us the right question at the right time. That is an incredibly powerful question. Not who are you, but who do you want to be? Do you want to be who I tell you that you are, or are you going to be a victim? Are you going to be victorious? You can be a victim. Wow. Yeah. Wow. I am just, wow. That is such a powerful, powerful question. So do you stay in touch with that person that sowed into you?
No, I don't. And I think it's kind of sad that I don't, but I do believe, that he brings people to you for a reason. Sure. And some people for a season. And she was, I don't know what her background was either. I don't know if she was a believer or not, but I do know that she was very literally his hands and feet when I needed to be picked up off the ground. And she worked with me for about a year. I worked with her, so.
And that's great. And it's great that you went to the word to start getting that identity, because I think, like you said, earlier you said something about we just didn't even question it. And so I think even as believers, we just kind of exist, but we don't really go through that transformation, that metamorphosis. I was just talking to somebody else, part of the Igniters group, about the butterfly. And to me, it meant something to her, it meant something different to me. And to me, it's that symbol of that time in the cocoon. Nobody can help that butterfly go through that. They have to go through it on their own in order to be beautiful and to be strong. And so it's not that we don't ever go through those. And some of us, unfortunately, like you, Jasmine, go through really, really hard places. Your cocoon is really, really hard. And others, their cocoon might not look the same, but it's still hard. They still have to go through that. So, well, I thank you so much for sharing. That is really, really powerful. So tell me about how that now plays into what you're doing, what you do now with Everyday Crown Rocker.
Okay. And then now with the Everyday Crown Rocker, the main mission or the premise of it is that we are children of the King. He loves us. He has adopted us as his own. And so he's crowned us as royalty. And so there is great power when like you said, we don't pay enough attention, even as Christians, to who we really are in Christ. And there is so much power when we connect to our actual, real, true identity and live in that identity. It talks about, making us a new creation. And so I think sometimes we forget, and using your butterfly analogy, it takes work. It's not, we're instantly, we are saved, we are redeemed, we are new, but the actual transformation into this new creation, we need to have a part in that. We play a part in that. It's about refining us. It's about changing things within us. It's about growth. And so, but growth doesn't happen with us just going through the motions, just like, whatever. And so what I do now is help women to connect with the source of their crown, but then to actually start to live in that and create lives that matter, to actually start to use their crown in their day-to-day lives, in every aspect of our lives. So as a parent, as an employee, as a spouse, as an entrepreneur. I think the thing with being created and recreated in this new image is that it happens slowly. Yes. And I think we expect it to be boom, one time and it's done, and that's not how it works. It literally happens day by day, moment by moment, season by season, that we begin to see our Father for who He is, and then we grow into who we are in Him. And so that's why it's the daily or the everyday crown rocker, because it's things that we do every day. There is so much just power in just the mundane everyday things that we do, and it's in those moments, if we actually stop to think about it, it's in those little everyday moments that we see Him show up. It's in, it's in those conversations with our kids. It's in those, that 10 minutes that you get to shower in peace. It's in your drive to work. It's in how you respond to your boss or to a coworker. It's all those little moments that add up to this big life that matters. It's your decisions in the moment. Do you decide to live how He wants you to live? Do you decide to react like He would have you react, or a different way? And the more times you react that way, the more times you remember your crown, the more times you own that, wait a second, I'm royalty. Like, my Father is the king. I don't need to live like this. And you do that every day. It creates this, you can look back and you just kind of see your whole life change. The way you relate to people, the way you relate to circumstances and situations, but even just, for me, even the way I relate to myself. And now I'm like, whoa, like I put up with too much. Like, I shouldn't have done that. But then moving forward, I'm able now to just to own that I'm royalty. And as royalty, you're going to act different if you're royalty than if you're the slave. If you're entering the courts of a king or the president or the mayor, you hold yourself different than if you're just, going for a quick run into the gas station. It's that same thing. Like, and the more we embrace it and the more we own who we are, the more we see the overflow of that just in our everyday lives.
Yes, that's so powerful. That is so true. And even how you walk and how you carry yourself, as you were saying, not only in the grocery store, but everywhere, really makes a difference. I mean, you're exuding. I don't know if you've ever been someplace and you meet someone and you're like, are you a believer? Because I don't know, I think our spirits are talking to each other, whatever. But I've never felt that way with someone who is, looking or acting dreary. It's always someone else who's kind of got a lot of joy, or
Mm-hmm.
even if something as bad is happening, we're laughing about it, something happening at the grocery store or whatever. It's like, okay,
Right.
someone's messing with me today. Not going to
Mm-hmm.
steal my joy. But yeah, just how we carry each other carries how we carry Christ with us.
Mm-hmm.
It really, really makes a difference. So Jasmine, there has been, wow, so much. I want to get off this recording and come sit in your living room and talk to you some more about your life and how you've
Oh man, I have
overcome and
stories.
being a victor. It's just, that's just so, so powerful. So tell us now how anyone can get in touch with you.
The best way is on Facebook. The page would be the Everyday Crown Rocker, or there's also a page for the Everyday Crown Rocker magazine. Be sure to subscribe to the magazine as well. It is a free online magazine, and so there's no cost to that. If you are on the Everyday Crown Rocker or the Everyday Crown Rocker magazine, there's links in there all the time about how to actually sign up and read it. But
Great.
on Facebook the most. I am also on Instagram and on Pinterest, but for sure I'd say connect with me on Facebook first.
Okay, great. So the Everyday Crown Rocker and the Everyday Crown Rocker magazine. Well, Jasmine, again, I thank you so much for taking the time and talking with us today. And just that whole thing about identity, who we are, who God has called us to be, who do we want to be? That is the new question. That is the new question. That is a powerful, powerful question. And I thank you again so much for spending a few minutes with us and sharing your story. Anything else you want to tell our listeners?
Oh my goodness, no, but thank you for having me on. And I guess I just want to encourage your listeners to start answering that question for yourself. Who do you want to be? Connect with me. I can sure help you answer that question. But it's the beginning of many, many, many decisions that will help you create a life that matters. And when you look back, you'll be like, whoa, like, wait, what? And that's a beautiful moment.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, just the trajectory of your life can change when you decide who you want to be and who you want to listen to. So that's very, very true. So thank you so much. So, so this concludes this session of Becoming Truly Liberated Empower Hour. You can find us over on Becoming Truly Liberated, the Facebook page. There's a separate event for the Empower Hour. You can also find us on Inspiration for Life online radio / Becoming Truly Liberated, but that is a 24-hour radio station, so I encourage you to listen to other podcasts and radio. And then you can also find replays of the videos uploaded on YouTube. So I thank you so much, and we'll be looking forward to hearing more about Jasmine and what she's doing, possibly in other podcasts. Thanks so much. Wow. I just listened to all the interviews again, and I am blown away how God has orchestrated these interviews in such a way that these three women have all walked through their belief that they were not valuable, not enough. I love Jasmine's aha question, not who you are, as many of us ask ourselves, but who do you want to be? And one step further from me is, who does God want you to be? What does He say that you are? So powerful. I hope you were encouraged by these women's stories and in their courage to share them with you. It's very vulnerable to do so. If you have a story to tell about a lie that you've believed, we have guest spots still available. I'm letting the Holy Spirit lead you to answer that question. And maybe you've believed many, as I have, but the story that you tell will encourage and will resonate with another in their walk to be free. So please send some kudos to our guests. Visit our sponsors this week. For the first 2 weeks, the sponsors are companies I work with to earn a living so I can continue to work in the community with Become and with Become Truly Liberated. I greatly, greatly appreciate your prayers and financial support to make that possible. Sponsorship will be available starting week 3. So for more information, send me a message or visit our page on Inspiration for Life / Becoming Truly Liberated. So let's last shout out for tonight is for my favorite graphic guy, my former office mate, my shenanigans partner, Juan Ramos with R3 Student Center, R3 Marketing, for his help in last minute graphics. He's always ready to help me out. He's great at what he does. So thanks, Juan. I appreciate you more than you know. So join us for the discussion in Lies Women Believe discussion group over on our Facebook page, and tune in next Monday for more stories from women who are becoming truly liberated. Thanks for listening in and watching tonight. God bless.
For more information about Inspiration for Life International Internet Radio Network and this podcast, please visit www.inspiration4life.org.